1, NS Hosa, Axiom Acer, MVP, FXOpen, LGIM, Azubu, Prime, Startail.
Welcome back to the GSTL, and currently we have an interesting position for these teams, and also apparently pizza. Why has this happened to us? There's pizza on the table. I'm like, I know that Mike Morm is like the only person who can get pizza in our hands, but if he's doing something else that's more important, I'm just not gonna have pizza when somebody else does.
I actually think it's only the players that have pizza right now. I don't think that's actually a pizza for the audience.
Yeah, it looks like MVP is the only one with pizza, and that can really get into the heads of FXOpen. They're looking at this like, yeah, we are ahead in points. We don't have pizza, and they do. That might mess with them a little bit.
It might mess with him, definitely. But well, right now what's going to happen is we have our Terran versus Protoss coming up, since MVP decided, after Dream lost, that it is time for Super, aka Vampire, to come out. A Protoss player who has to face GOMTV now.
Yeah, and you can see that our schedule has been announced for WCS Korea for the GSL. It's going to be at 6:10 p.m. on Tuesday, with MC flying Yoda and DRG, so don't miss it. I mean, look at that group, it's pretty stacked.
Yeah, that group is pretty much insane. I really love it. MC was not really successful yesterday, came out as the last player, but could not hold a candle to Ryung's play. Very, very defensive and very careful play by Ryung. MC with a great actually show when he pulled Squirtle back, but still, that was not enough.
Well, Vampire has the talking conch at this point. You know, it's like, what does he have to say? What is he going to tell us with his play here? We haven't seen him too much in Heartless Swarm just yet. He's changed his ID to Super, so I want to make that clear for anyone who's tuning in a little bit late. He's up against a Nine-Tailed Foxman, and he's got no ID changes. He's got no play changes. He's just, you know, he said it in his interview when the preseason came out. He said, you know what, the medevacs are cool, they're fast, I love them.
Vampire or Super, he was the ace for his team at the IPTL finals, but this is of course a different scenario. We're here to offline league, not an online tournament, and therefore we're heading now into the game. He has to prove himself here against GOMTV, the GSTL Season 1 2013, brought to you by Colin.
Whirlwind is the map choice, and the player who chose it to the bottom right for the team MVP changed his ID from Vampire. He is
MVP Super.
Was that zoom out necessary, Legend? I don't know about that one.
I like it. I like to have a new perspective on things every now and then.
Look at the F keys used there by Super. He's hotkeyed them already. His opponent to the top right in the blue, the Nine-Tailed Fox, the Towel Terror, and he is
FXO Kumiho.
And you know, you actually mentioned something that I feel we could explain to the viewers that don't really play StarCraft 2 for that long, or maybe don't know about that. You can actually hotkey locations, so which means that usually you do that for your natural, for your main base. So if you want to jump back to your base or to your natural really fast because you've been attacked and the space key just doesn't cut it because something else happened in between, you can use those hotkeys. So you just check them out in the options. You can have a look at your hotkeys. Because per default, like the F1 key is for all your idle workers, the F2 key is now to select your entire army.
Yeah.
Personally, I really like to remove those because I never use them, so that I can hotkey also locations to F1 and F2. But that's one of the things that you might want to check out if you haven't used it in the past. It gets a little bit of getting used to, but if you are used to using them, it helps you so much with your play.
It's so useful. You know, GOMTV's gone for a gas first here, but I want to talk about this just a little bit more. There's so many different options that Blizzard has given players in the hotkeys. You can change any hotkey. If you guys don't know this, if you're a StarCraft player but you know you can change your hotkeys, you can make any hotkey whatever you want it to be. If you want to use Z instead of W for Warp Gate for whatever reason, you can do that. You know, the sky is the limit for that. And with location hotkeys, you can, like you said, hotkey your main, your natural. A lot of players like to hotkey their opponent's main base once they find it. So if they ever want to do an attack, they can just hit that location hotkey and then hit the attack key and go for it.
It's especially one of the things that is really interesting for Protoss players. If you have a forward pylon, there is a trick that some of them used where they just remove the hotkey that is traditionally on the spacebar, which is just jump to the last message that you got. But if you actually like have your forward pylon as a warp in position, a lot of Protoss players will start to hotkey that position on their spacebar, so that it's really easy for them to just jump in there when they start an attack, when they want to warp in reinforcements. Something that you might want to try out. It's really useful. But let's focus a little bit on the match at hand. You already mentioned, Wolf, that we have a gas first here for Gumiho. He's going straight into the factory here as well, so we are definitely going to see aggression from the Terran player.
Yeah, and I feel that the most likely choice for Gumiho is going to be Widow Mines into the main base, and we have Super going for the double gas build here, 2 and 2. This is what you normally see from MVP Process. In fact, Tails really popularized this, and Naniwa, of course, looking at this, used it quite often, so he's quite famous for it too. But we do have that Widow Mine drop coming in, and when you go for this 2 and 2 gas, it allows you to get the Robo up a little bit faster, but we see, first of all, you wanted to get the Mothership Core, and beyond that, even a Sentry, so the Observer might not be out in time, and may take some serious losses to this Widow Mine drop.
The Mothership Core is out right now and just trying to repel the Scout for now, but of course for Gumiho this worked out really well. He scouted his opponent at the first position possible, and everything is just lining up so well for him. This robotics is important to get the detection out there, as already pointed out, but at this position, this is going to be difficult to handle.
Yeah, and you know, it's all about how Gumiho executes this. He's putting up some fake pressure here with the bunker. He's sending his Marines across, so if the bunker is ignored, then it can actually be a big problem, but he does force the cancel there. The second Widow Mine is out, the medevac is on the way. The Marines move forward here. He wants to use the Marines as kind of like a bodyguard for the Widow Mine if he attacks directly by ground at the natural, or they could be a distraction if he goes into the main base.
We have the expansion, of course, as a follow-up also here for Gumiho. The idea is to do damage with the actual attack, but then still go into the late game here. So it's just a plan that he has here, even speed boosting immediately, trying to catch up with the rest of this army, then using the second speed boost to get into the main base while applying pressure at the natural.
He has the Forge, which is really important because cannons can be the best defense against Widow Mines, depending on the situation, and he has not started his upgrades just yet, but he will very soon. And remember, the Mothership Core has been out long enough to where you can also use that Photon Overcharge. Here comes the boost into the main. This is the first glimpse that Super has. He did not scout this.
And here comes the Widow Mine immediately starting to burrow, at least it should, and there it is.
Oh no, this could be horrible.
Oh, and it is. Oh my god, he's trying to pull them away a little bit too late. The Widow Mines with quite a few kills here. Second one also there, but only with one.
And he even forces the cancel on the Photon Cannon.
That is 12 worker kills without doing any damage to those units. Not a single Terran unit died. This is the perfect opening for Gumiho.
He basically tickled the Widow Mine, and that was it. And now the worker count is dead even, which is never what you want to have as a Protoss player in any circumstance. And not only that, Gumiho has a command center finishing up at his natural, so he can start to mine from 2 bases, and this is looking really bad for Super. The one thing that he did have was his tech, but now that the factory is complete, we even have siege tanks on the way for Gumiho.
Uh-oh, the Mothership Core has to be careful here.
Oh, those probes!
The probes!
Oh, very nicely done. Pulls one probe away to tank the shot.
But look at this, he is still pressuring his opponent. He has this one medevac there, which isn't even damaged severely. The Mothership Core is already down to the red, and this is the most awful position that a Protoss player can possibly be in.
Yeah, 13 Harvesters lost in total for Super, and he has not even utilized his Forge except for attempting to make a cannon, so his upgrade lead hasn't started yet. He's starting a Twilight Council, though.
And we already have now the add-on for the starport. Once again, the medevac is there, trying to find an opening, trying to move in, kill the Mothership Core.
Nicely done. That was very close, like you said, but really nice reaction by Super. But here comes a siege tank in the drop, and that is very serious to deal with.
Sieging up here, taking down those stalkers, at least trying to. The Widow Mine trying to borrow, but it's been taken out a little bit before that. The second drop attempt by Gumiho, this time not as successful as his earlier attempt.
Yeah, that one was a little bit overzealous. Trying to even get that siege tank sieged up at that location was not successful, and he ends up losing a lot of expensive units. As you guys can see here on the unit tab, he's a little bit low on the army. He's got pure Marine now with just a few medevacs. A Reaper is started, so either that's a mistake or he wants to use that to get a little bit more scouting information, perhaps, of whether or not Super has taken a third base.
And right now, actually, Super, aka Vampire, he gets a little bit back into this game. He's at this point already ahead in Harvesters with 43 against 38, going for the double pro production. He chrono boosted his economy quite a bit earlier. And these these Dark Templars could do a lot, and they will decide what kind of position the Poros player will be in the mid game.
Yeah, that's very true. And Gumiho has this push out. It's spotted by Super, and Super's going out to meet him here. I don't know if this is going to be the right choice, though, with Stim ready and this many Marines here with the Medivacs. He does not want to fight this on open terrain. He wants to actually go back and use his Nexus.
And here comes the speed boost again. He knows that the army of Super is out of position and uses this opening to go into the main base, executing a speed boost, being there a lot faster and trying to take down at least the pylon. Very positional use here, of course, as well.
Yep, very nicely done. It's all about the ability to push your opponent into different locations, make him do things he doesn't want to do, be places he doesn't want to be. These two DTs could force a cancel on the command, so he decides to go for the natural instead, though.
There's no energy, Wolf. He doesn't have the energy, he just called down a mule.
Oh, you're so right. Now he could actually go and do a ton of damage, but he wants to split these and go for SCV kills rather than going for the army, which is a smart choice. And he has now an additional one warped in, so he could deny the command center.
Yep, and he is like everywhere now. One in the main base, one at the natural, doing damage. Missile turrets have, of course, been started, but already the worker count is going down for Gumiho here. He's losing 9, might lose another one, and he's also going to lose his third base to left.
Yeah, you know, he wants to be able to save it. I don't know if he can, though.
Uh-oh.
And wow, Super's actually going for an attack with this, so he's forced Gumiho to focus on 3 different locations, and he's got the heart of his army out here. Oh, that turret, will he be able to save it? It looks like the answer is yes.
Ah, that was very unlucky for Super here, but now he's moving in. There are only 3 siege tanks. He's trying to take them down. The SCVs are coming to fight. The command center lifted.
Yeah, the command center lifts. Now we can send the SCVs in here. The Immortals trying to target the siege tanks, but the SCVs cut them off.
The Immortals are about to die here. The SCV is doing a great job, but we still have a supply lead for MVP's player. The Protoss is doing a good job here. 19 harvests killed against 23. A significant lead for MVP Super here.
Yeah. And Super was able to actually force the cancel on that command center, so it wasn't just a deny, there was a cancel there, so that means that he's not behind in economy. Oh, will he get the medevac? He does! He takes all of his units out. This is even further bad for Gumiho.
That was really bad for him. He was really distracted, trying to stabilize to the top right, didn't see those stalkers being warped in, loses the medevacs and the Marines, and now he's down to 27 harvesters. 2 orbitals, and the next round of DTs is already on their way.
Yeah, the turret in the main base is going to be relatively easy to defend here, but it's not near the add-ons, for example, so he's now going for the reactors. Could send some into the mineral line at the natural, and Super just does not stop the aggression. Meanwhile, he has a 3rd Nexus on the way. He has more than double Gumiho's worker count right now.
And it's just such a smart play. He makes sure that Gumiho has to use scans to detect those DTs. He occupies the Terran player, whereas he himself is getting a 3rd base at the bottom right, taking it up, just making sure that he has the perfect position to go into the late mid game.
Exactly, and now he has charge on the way. Nice wall here by Gumiho. When you don't have a wall, dealing with DTs is so difficult because they're going to walk in there if you don't have the turrets ready. Nice scan to take out the DT, barely misses the observer. But Gumiho's one card up his sleeve is the upgrade advantage that he has at 2-1, about to finish up here. And if he can hang on by that thread for a few more minutes and take a 3rd base, maybe he can come back. Gumiho is like the comeback king. He does not leave games early, and sometimes if you let him sit back for a second, he will catch up with you.
Yep. The upgrade's definitely going to be the biggest issue, as you already pointed out. Even though Dream now has an army supply lead and an overall supply is significantly ahead of his opponent, the army is just so much stronger for the Terran player at this point. He's on 1-0 here, but given time, actually, I think he just completed 1-1.
He just finished 2-1 actually now, so he's at +2 attack and +1 armor. And this is going to be a scary force.
No, he's not. He's still on. Yeah, right now he's at 1-1 and he's getting the
just
second attack
finishing
upgrade.
now. And he's got the army supply to back this up. This is his one card that he's got in his hand. But with more warpins, you can see Super's already taken a 10 supply army lead here. This is the one moment that Gumiho has to turn this game around. He wants to engage here at the bottom of the choke point with the siege tanks to support.
And he just backs off, trying to buy himself a little bit more time. He knows that he is far ahead in economy and bases. 143 supply against 100 right now. The concave is good. Force fields are going to be crucial here.
Charge is done. He runs the Zealots and he even has a DT as part of his army, but the force field's now working against him a little bit here.
The rest of the army can't get close enough for Gumiho though, and once again Super backs off a little bit, waiting for the next round of Warpins.
Yep, the next round of Warpins is here. It is good. The Marine count falls a little bit here, but the Medivacs are helping out. Can Gumiho pull through? He's certainly trying.
He's trying, but now the Immortals are getting close to the siege tanks, trying to focus them down. Another scan has to be used since there are more DTs. Another round of Warp-ins might just be able to make sure that Super is gonna win this game.
Yeah, the Zealots coming in here at the perfect position, coming with a flank at that pylon, and Gumiho is pushed back, even time warped here.
Yeah.
Recalls his Mothership Core to save it, and Gumiho, his army just is not quite enough. The economy for Super has had too much time to build up, and I think this is going to be it.
Only 12 Harvesters left for Gumiho. He pulled nearly all of them with this attack. GG! He lost too much. He tried to go for this all inner strat since he realized he could not keep up with the economy of Super. Great game by the MVP Protoss here, and he takes the match, ties up the score in this team battle between MVP and FXOpen.
Vampire, man, it's a bit early for him to be outside, and he's going to hope there's no garlic on that pizza. He looks pissed even though he won. He's like, no, I can't believe we did that. Widowmine strategy gets me in. Coach Troy's like, no, that's fine. Just calm down, Vampire. You took the win.
Yeah, the Widowmine in the early game, that really, that posed a huge problem. 12 kills this early, but then with the second job, Gumiho just overextended himself a little bit. He lost the siege tanks, he lost the medivac there. He thought he could finish the game early, but it turned out that Super was just a little bit too good at this point.
And the DTs were such a problem for him. He lost so many Harvesters, and then when the attack came in with the DTs, he was already in his main base dealing with DTs there, so he couldn't defend his natural. Losing the third command center was probably the real turning point in this game, because that's when Vampire was able to take a lead and have the aggressive control of the map while taking his own third.
The DTs were definitely the perfect decision for him, and it just shows that DTs now in Heart of the Swarm are just so much more viable. The resources, the costs, especially in gas, have been reduced from 250 to 150, so at this point it was much easier for him to go into DTs, and they worked so well. The attack, I really loved that he executed an attack at the same time. He was already in a position where he could just thin out the forces, a few in the natural, a few in the main base, and then he went up the ramp. Very well done, even though Gumiho with a good reaction. After this, Super was far ahead.
Yeah, he had that momentum going for him, and once Gumiho went for that all-in attack, he knew all he had to do was defend. He made extra cannons, Mothership Core was helping out with the time warp, and Gumiho had that one moment, and it just was not enough.
Yep. So now we have the score in the team match tied with a 1-1, and of course it's now up to FXOpen to choose the next player to send out here. I'm actually interested in who's it going to be. I want to see, well, we expect Lenok to come out later today. We could see Lucky, for example. Maybe he will be the next player here, who was already joking around a little bit earlier. But FXO, definitely, they have to think about what they're going to do next.
I think you know, Lucky would be a good choice. I don't know if they'll send him out this early. That's the question. I could also see the Best coming out here. The Best is oftentimes used as an anti-Protoss force, and I'm looking forward to seeing what he's got up his sleeve for Heart of the Swarm. Don't forget, SC is also on the roster, and when it comes to Lenok, I think we're going to see him at the end if it comes to that.
Yeah. Another Zerg player that we might see is JKS. He's done quite well in the preseason. So also, they have really a lot of players that have shown that they are very good in Heart of the Swarm, even though they were not heavy hitters in Links of Liberty.
Yeah.
So that's something that you have to account for here. We don't have this much data on a lot of these players, and the same is true for Team MVP. They're looking at the lineup right now, and of course they know about the games that Lenok played. But there are a lot of other players on the FXOpen roster that they didn't really see in action just yet in Heart of the Swarm, where they can just rely on the information of Wings of Liberty, but they don't know how well did those guys actually adapt to a Heart of the Swarm.
Yeah, and for FXOpen, they are a team league team. They're not really the individual league team. Yes, they have some players that go, yes, Gumiho is actually great in the individual leagues, but when it comes down to team league, they are top-notch. They have, I mean, when you look at Choya, you see he has the 2 badges on his chest for a reason. Coach of the Year, man, it's Choya, so he's got something planned for sure.
Yeah, Choya can't be happy with the performance in the first match where they actually lost, so he wants to make sure that they win at least their second game, because Team League is very, very important to them, especially to him now. They will definitely have put a lot of thought into their lineup and into the players that they are going to choose, depending on what exactly happens here. Now they have to make a choice to take down a Protoss player, and this Protoss already was successful against Terra number 1. They might send out a second one, but maybe it's time to send out a Zerg player or go into the mirror match.
To me, the most likely choice feels like it's Lucky. Lucky could come out here. He's a great Zerg player, and he's good in all matchups, and if he's prepared something for a Protoss player, I think it's going to be him. The Best is somebody we might see. in Wings of Liberty, he was strong. He was often used as a sniper against Protoss, but then towards the end, he kind of fell off. They didn't use him as much. Now we're in a completely different expansion. I don't know if he's kind of the choice, but when it comes to the best, he's always there. He's an option, and it's all up to Choya, man.
One of the things that you always have to consider as well is that the team that lost the last match also can choose the map, and the map is influencing things quite a bit. We just had a huge 4-player map. If you try to be very aggressive against your opponent, it works in your favor. If it's a bit of a smaller map, especially when you have a map like, let's say, Aquilon, where a Terran player against the Protoss can do quite a lot with the speed medivacs, trying to bounce between 2 or 3 bases. We've seen it executed by Flash against Rain in Wings of Liberty. That was even before the speed boost was implemented. Now the medivac is even more dangerous, so the map choice also really important here. We actually know the map already. The map has been hosted. It is going to be Star Station.
Ooh,
we just
interesting.
don't know who's going to play.
Star Station is a big map. It's a 4-player map. It's like Whirlwind in some ways, but it's 4-player and it's large, but there's a lot more open space. There's not as many ramps on Star Station. There's usually 2 attack paths, so Star Station, I'm thinking it could be a Zerg, and I'm feeling lucky at this point. I mean, not like I feel lucky personally, like I'm about to go to the casino, but I feel like lucky is going to be the player choice of FXO.
Yeah, one of the things that we always have to consider if you're going to the ZVP is that a lot of Zerg players are a bit reluctant to go into a late game. So I'm always a bit wondering if a Zerg would rather choose the smaller map. But whatever it is, whoever is going to play here right now, he will definitely have made up a strategy for this particular matchup to make sure that they have a strategy going into the team game. You can't train the sniper, you can't just try to have like one player that in his only job in the team match is going to be beat a certain race on a certain map, and then trying to just shift things so that you can use him in this arrangement.
I cannot stress enough how important maps are, and FXOpen always picks their maps so right. They always set it up because Lenok, if he has to come out, he will, and they always make it so that when Lenok does come out, he's got like the perfect maps for him. So this may be one of the reasons why we see Star Station now, because Lenok doesn't want to play on Star Station later if he does have to come out. If you guys have not watched FXOpen's Team League matches in the past, definitely do that.
What was that?
I'm a Codes player. Like this comes up, it's like Wolf's been commentating for like several years, and I'm like, yeah, that's true. But like the Levitate song plays, and I'm like, yeah. And I take my headset and turn it into a GSL headset, like I'm in the booth. But if you have not watched FXOpen's play in the past, you definitely need to go back and check that out, because when you look at their map picks, it's actually like not even talked about as much as it should be, the way they pick their maps.
You know, we have the, okay, let's focus a bit on the next player who's going to come out for the team right now.
Lucky!
It is Lucky.
You know, it just fits. Like, everything comes together, and Lucky seems like the best choice here.
He usually comes out early, either as the starting player or as the second choice, so going for a Zerg player on Star Station, we're going to find out what Super is going to do against him. His ZVP is our next matchup here.
Yep. Talking about Lucky's results a little bit here. He's never been one for the individual league, really. He played in Code A a few times. He's currently in Code B. But look at his GSTL win rate. Not only is he over 50%, but he's played 34 games in total. That's a lot of GSTL appearances for this guy.
I really want to see what Lucky is going to do for a certain reason. When we had the preseason tournament, he was the first one who really tried to work with the Burrow upgrade that is now available on Lair Tech compared on Hatch Tech compared to Lair. So this is one of the things where we could see him try to use a new build. There are certain timings that you can use against Protoss. Even the 2-base Swarm Host timing is not unheard of. We've seen this several times on the Korean ladder and in some of the games that we already had in the team season.
Yeah.
So this is maybe something that he is going to try, because the one situation that he wants to avoid is going into a very late game against Atos.
Star Station being the map choice here for Lucky feels like a setup for Lenok later on, but at the same time, if he has something planned here, Star Station is oftentimes about the position. If you're close horizontally, for example, the game changes a lot, but if you're cross positions, it's a completely different map, and it takes forever for the Protoss to get to your base. And the question becomes now, what is Super going to show us? Is he going to do airplay? Will he do a timing attack like we saw yesterday? Or is he just going to play a standard Wings of Liberty style?
Yeah, we've seen in Code S that airplay is still something that a lot of Zergs struggle against. There are different variations of what you can do. The most common one is now a Void Ray heavy composition, but you have to get on at least 3 bases to pull that off, and it's definitely a late game strategy. So let's see what's going to happen in this game. We have Lucky up against Super at the GSTL Season 1 2013, brought to you by Color.